Hi guys, welcome to the second video in our tutorial series for advanced computational rule design. I kind of wanted to use this example to go through use this video to go through like a worked example of a project that hopefully I'll do all along the semester if it warrants it. I keep building it up. So it's going to start off as a small furniture piece, just like you guys have to design for assignment 1. And I'd show you how easy it could be as well. But at the same time, I wanted to kind of nip a few things in the bud. And that's primarily what you see on this YouTube browser here. So like, I've just gone ahead and typed parametric furniture into YouTube, as did many of my students last year, and these are some of the examples you get. With my favorite, and when I say favorite, the one that makes me want to throw up the most, this one called Parametric Bench Grasshopper tutorial by Rhino Grasshopper. Is that who it's by?
What tutorial I want to show you?
By Rhino Grasshopper. These guys are horrible. Horrible in that everything they design, one, it looks kind of ugly and very like 10 years dated, but they don't really take into account any kind of like construction detailing and stuff as well. It's just more for show, like, rather than anything. And look, as a learning exercise, it could be useful, and like we'll be using some similar techniques that they'll start to use, but I'm kind of going to push it a bit further, and I'm going to show you how, with Grasshopper and a little bit of computational knowledge, we can do that. So, for starters, I'm going to go into Grasshopper. I've got my little window set up in case we need it. As in the video, I'm going to start by copy-pasting some sectional profiles. Where are they? And here these bad boys are. And I'm also going to copy paste in a simple script that I'll chuck up for you guys later on that works out the angles between, I'll actually do this for this one, works out the angles between each of the polylines. So what we're going to do is, essentially in this video, this guy has these 3 profiles that he orients along this curve, creates a sweep, and then contours it. And the construction detail is solid plywood. So what's going to happen is you're going to get like a contoured piece of furniture that's going to cost an arm and a leg because it's made out of like these solid bits of plywood. It's going to look like crap because it's plywood, and it's also going to be really, really heavy. I think that's what designers sort of forget to remember when they're doing these kinds of designs, that all this stuff glued together gets really, really heavy, and as someone who's had to lift such things before, you don't want to. But anyway, so we're going to start to add a bit of computational knowledge, computational rigor, I guess, to the person's workflow. So what this script does is works out the angle between each line. So if I start to play around with this a little bit, you'll see that starts at it's 82 at the moment, and if I bring it out wide, to the right, it gets wider, and if I bring it in, the angle gets more acute, goes to 57. The display, like, this is just using Grasshopper's angle dimension tool and doing a little bit under the hood that you guys can have a look at later on. But what I want to do is just use it as a an extra way that when you actually design something that someone's going to use, if it looks like this with an angle of 69 degrees to the acute, no one's going to sit on it because that's going to really stick into their back. Something like that might make someone lean back. It may arguably be better or worse. Anyway, just so that we're aware. So why don't we just, while we're here, we'll just sort of set up something that maybe looks comfortable-ish. I don't know, like a bit of a chase lounge there. These are going to be very similar. Look at that. Why don't I put that one a bit more upright? And then this one, we'll make it just like really far back. Cool. So again, I've made a tool that tells me all the angles. So if you had a whole bunch of charts about correct angles for seating, and then they actually exist, you could go find them. You could use them to inform your design. Okay, so yeah, I guess the other thing about these kinds of shapes that we're using is, well, they're very, very sharp. So why don't we fillet all the sharp corners of the curve, and why don't we fillet them at a radius of around 100, like so. I'm just going to turn these angles off now because I don't necessarily need them. So it's going to start rounding our shapes out, and why are round corners good over sharp, especially on something like a CNC cut bit of furniture like that? Well, they're not sharp, and I've got at least 2 cuts on my hands from when I've cut myself on CNC cut material in the past couple of weeks. So that's always a benefit. And what I'm going to do is, if I load up control points now and drop a list length component down, see, these have a different number of control points each. Because we're going to create a sweep surface later on, I'm going to rebuild this curve. And I'm going to rebuild them with the smallest number here, which is, I better not do that. Flatten that, which is 29. Well, it's definitely not the smallest. Let's just sort those values. No, I'll do it with the largest, doesn't really matter. So plug that into number, and then take our filtered curves and pop it in there. And let's just sort of turn some stuff off so we can see. So these are the new curves we've generated. They might go outside the boundary now, but it doesn't really matter for what we're doing. Now, in this kind of design, they start off with creating a bit of a sweep surface. I'm more interested in something along the lines of the work of Matthias Pliessnig, a designer I admire a lot. And you might notice that Pliessnig uses like the same kinds of 3D forms that some of these other people use, but he combines that with his intense knowledge of woodworking to steam bend ribs on top of the smaller sectional profiles you see in this photo here. So there's like an extra layer of complexity added. And while Pliessnig is a woodworker and he does a lot of this, he'll feel it out by hand. We're going to see if we can do it computationally. So it's like taking this project a bit further, which hopefully turns out cool. So from there, we need to generate a 3D form that we're going to all these curves are going to find themselves oriented to. So let's draw something out. How long is this? 7 meters? Yeah, that's all right. Cool. Now, eventually, I'm going to try and make this definition as sort of designed as rigorously as possible, so that we can use it on a large variety of shapes, and you guys can copy part or borrow parts of it if you need to. So let's start working on our 3D form. Okay, so first, what we want to do is we want to use this curve as a driver to orient these 3 curves on there first. So what we need to do is divide this curve create the points that we're going to orient these curves onto. So we have 3 curves, don't we? Yep, and I think I'll just flatten this data now to get that reading out. Right. Oh, first problem, 3, and we've got 4 points. So I'm just going to do this quickly. Cool. And then let's generate some perp frames along there. So you can't see them because they're very small. Let's have a look. Cool. There's those planes that have been generated, and see, they're kind of like, they might not be, that's in the right, or they're in a certain orientation that we might not need, what we might not want. So I'm just going to reorient them. So they're all still, I'll make it so they're still facing the same way, and I want to be able to control that. So I'm going to use the same X value, and I'm just going to use Z to make them all face up. And there we go. And I'm going to get this orient going. Cool, so this is where we want to orient them all to. We want to orient these curves, and where do we want to orient them from? What I want to do is I want to take each curve from the bottom here and just plonk it right there, there, and there. So let's do that. So just getting the midpoint. So exploding all these curves out into their subcurves, which is there and there. Oh, this may or may not work. We'll see. I might actually use the original polylines. Boom. There we go. Because that'll give me a point right on there, which is what I want. I'm going to sort them so I get... I want to sort the Y. So let me just have a look. So I want this point, and this point, and this point. And what do they have in common? They're the smallest point in the Y across all of these. So I'll use the Y data and then sort the curves and list that first point. Ta-da! And then that's just an X and Y like that. Boom, boom, boom. So let's have a look if we're all G. Oh, currently have 3 going at the moment because I didn't flatten that out. And there we go. And then from here, I know we're a little over time, but we'll just go, there's our curves. And there's our section. And so I'll leave it here. Oh no, we'll keep going, keep going. So there's our section. We'll debrep it. And now we're just going to generate some curves through it. And what I'm going to do is, this should be one surface, and it is one untrimmed surface because that's what sweep gives us. I can probably just do that actually, doesn't really matter. And then we just need to construct some UV points at which we're going to take contours or section curves through. So the way I do this is I'll construct a range of, I don't know, we'll go 25 for now. Range of 25 points, parameters from numbers from 0 to 1, and then we're going to use concatenate. So you know when you would evaluate a surface, you'd go 0.5/0.5. We're doing that, but we're evaluating at many different points. So now we have a whole list of points to evaluate at. Well, I had to reparameterize that, not simplify. And there we go. Pretty quick. So we're going to use these ribs. So like what old mate does in his video is, I don't know, he does something like this, right? I won't do it, but like there's his furniture project. We're going to use this to build a carcass, and then we'll use this, use these other curves to generate some rib geometry on it, like Matthias has done here. So I'll cut it there for now, and then in the next video we'll start doing it in a bit more detail. Maybe there might be 2 or 3 coming, but they'll be more easily digestible formats. And I've continued to work on my at-home production values for you guys. So, I don't know if you noticed, but I've got a green screen here. So let's see if we can have a bit of fun with that. Take it easy.